Get ready for a story of science and unbridled ambition, where scientists push the boundaries of ethics by creating a human hybrid. As this new life evolves, it becomes an increasing threat, forcing the couple to face devastating consequences and fight desperately to control their creation and protect their secrets. Let's go. Clive Nicolai and Elsa Cast are a pair of genetic engineers working at Nucleic Exchange Research and Development, affectionately known by the acronym NERD. Both are passionate about their mission, which involves advanced genetic engineering, meticulously investigating the fusion of DNA from different animal species to create exceptional hybrid beings with never-before-seen traits. The ultimate goal behind these audacious creations is the hope of isolating rare compounds present in the hybrid organisms, with the potential to revolutionize the treatment of numerous diseases that afflict humanity. At the beginning of the film, the scientist duo presents a significant breakthrough. A male hybrid they decide to name Fred. This new being is placed alongside Ginger, the previous female creation. A captivating scene unfolds when Fred and Ginger meet for the first time, interacting in a peculiar way and forming an instant connection by intertwining their tongues in an unusual greeting under the watchful eyes of the observers. In a subsequent meeting, Clive and Elsa talk with the NERD's executive director, Joan Charo. Joan, visibly impressed with the project's progress, expresses her desire to begin extracting genetic materials from the hybrids to accelerate the development of new medications. Ambitious, Clive and Elsa suggest going a step further, creating a human hybrid. They argue that such innovation could further expand the spectrum of useful compounds in combating degenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, and even some types of cancer. However, Joan hesitates, preferring to focus on the successes already achieved. Elsa, persistent, tries to convince her that if they don't act quickly, others surely will. Nevertheless, Joan remains adamant. Disappointed but not defeated, Clive and Elsa leave the meeting, determined not to abandon their vision. Faced with the company's refusal to support the audacious project, they decide to move forward on their own. Secretly, in the silence of the laboratory, Elsa obtains a human DNA sample from an anonymous source, and together, they begin the complex task of combining this new DNA with that of various animal species, just as they had done before. After several setbacks and unsuccessful experiments, Elsa proposes a new approach, presenting Clive with a sample of human DNA that she believes to be of superior quality. With meticulous adjustments to the experiment's conditions, they finally achieve the perfect balance for the genetic fusion to succeed. The next critical step is the incubation of the cell so that it can develop into a viable embryo. While human cloning is seen as a forbidden frontier and carries heavy ethical controversies, Clive feels compelled to stop the experiment. Elsa, on the other hand, driven by her scientific curiosity, insists on proceeding, if only to confirm whether the fusion really occurred as expected. She reassures Clive, promising that they will keep everything under control and minimize the risks. Reluctantly, Clive agrees, and together they begin the incubation, watching in fascination as the cells start to divide at an astonishing speed. The next day, Elsa inspects the creature's progress and is thrilled to see it evolving at a remarkable pace. Later, while resting at home, an urgent alert from the lab interrupts their calm. They rush to the site and find the embryo fully formed, much earlier than expected. They force open the incubator, and a viscous creature collapses onto the floor. Ensuring the being is secured, they leave the lab. The following day, Clive confides in Elsa that they need to terminate the embryo due to the risk it poses. Although Elsa hesitates to destroy the life she helped create, she recognizes the danger they face if the creature's existence is discovered. Upon returning to the lab, they find the apparent death of the creature. However, when Elsa inspects the chamber, she discovers that what seemed to be the creature's body is actually just its outer skin. The creature is still alive and hiding nearby. Suddenly, a scream echoes from the ceiling. Outside, Clive urges Elsa to leave, planning to saturate the room with a lethal gas. Elsa, however, chooses to approach the newly shed creature, trying to lure it. In the meantime, Clive enters the room, startling the being. They manage to drive the creature out and immobilize it with gas. Upon examination, they discover that it is female, and that its accelerated growth will likely lead to its death within a few months. They decide to make the most of the remaining time to observe her. Imaging tests reveal a tumor in her body, further complicating her condition. The creature has also developed a venomous tail used as a defense mechanism. A week after her birth, Clive tries to feed her without success until they discover that she prefers sugary foods, which simplifies her nutrition. Elsa begins to care for the little creature with maternal affection, even teaching her to spell her name. The creature, using the letters on Elsa's shirt, spells out "and." Impressed by her cleverness, Elsa names her Dren, an anagram of nerd. At this moment, Clive confronts Elsa for overly humanizing Dren. The conflict escalates quickly, catching the attention of Gavin, Clive's brother, and also a nerd employee, who, upon sneaking into the lab, is attacked by Dren. Elsa reprimands the young creature and tells her to back off. While Clive tries to calm Gavin, who is furious about the unauthorized experiment, they realize they need to relocate Dren to a safer and more isolated space, the basement of the facility. Upon arrival, Dren shows symptoms of fever and suddenly stops breathing. Clive immerses Dren in a cold water bath, and to their surprise, they discover that Dren's supposed tumor is actually an amphibious lung, allowing her to breathe underwater. Soon the moment comes for the couple to present Ginger and Fred to the press during a conference. They place the creatures together for display, but the event quickly turns into chaos when the beings start to fight, resulting in a true bloodbath. Later, Clive and Elsa are forced to explain the disaster to CEO Joan. They discovered that Ginger had changed sex, becoming male, and the presence of two males triggered the violent conflict. The couple had been so absorbed in caring for Dren that they failed to notice Ginger's transition. Given the situation, Joan orders the suspension of all hybridization experiments and demands that the necessary protein be synthesized at any cost. She also announces that the facility will be shut down in a few days, so Clive and Elsa need to find a safe place for Dren. They decide to take her to Elsa's mother's old farm, located in an isolated area, ideal for ensuring a protected environment for Dren. They plan to place Dren in a barn, but she, now grown, gets frightened and runs away. The couple finds her devouring a rabbit near the barn, and despite Elsa's scolding, the episode leaves Dren visibly shaken, causing her to leap into a water tank. Clive suggests they leave her alone while they prepare the space for her. That night, a bored Dren, who refuses food, expresses her dissatisfaction and desire to explore the outside by using letter blocks to form the words "tedious" and "outside." When Elsa denies her request, Dren, frustrated, escapes through a skylight. Elsa and Clive reach the roof just in time to see Dren, with her newly formed wings about to fly. Clive calls out to her, expressing his love, which makes her return. The next day, Elsa finds drawings made by Dren, depicting Clive, revealing her feelings for him. While Dren plays with a cat, Elsa intervenes, fearing that the animal might be harmed as well. When Clive returns, he finds a despondent Dren and invites her to dance in an attempt to cheer her up. During the moment, he discovers that Elsa used her own DNA to create Dren, leading to an intense argument between them, although Elsa tries to downplay the seriousness of the revelation. Later, she attempts to reconcile with Dren by offering her a cat as a gift, hoping it would help her socialize. To Elsa's shock, Dren kills the cat and attacks her. Elsa, overwhelmed, collapses to the ground as Dren, agitated, grabs the keys, desperately trying to escape. Before she can, Elsa overpowers her, knocking her unconscious. With a dangerous plan in mind, she restrains Dren on a table, deciding to cut off her tail to neutralize any future threat. At that moment, Clive arrives, finding Dren naked, tied up, and already without her tail, a scene that deeply affects him, compelling him to release her. Keeping a vigilant eye, Clive watches Dren through cameras strategically placed in her room. In a moment of tenderness, he touches the camera screen but recoils in horror as he realizes the depth of his actions. Meanwhile, in the lab, Elsa works fervently and manages to synthesize a protein from Dren's tail venom. Overjoyed, she rushes to share the news with Clive, but when she enters Dren's room, she finds Clive kissing the creature. Clive, shocked by his own reaction, tries to resist, but eventually gives in to a more intimate encounter with Dren. When Elsa witnesses the scene, she is horrified and flees in despair, with Clive in pursuit, trying to justify himself. After an intense conversation, they conclude that the only way out is to end Dren's life. However, when they return to the farm, they find Dren on the brink of death, the result of her accelerated life cycle. The couple stays by her side, witnessing her final moments. Elsa, with tears in her eyes, mourns the loss of someone she had come to see as a daughter. With broken hearts, they bury the body outside the farm. Meanwhile, Gavin, Clive's brother, arrives with an officer from NERD, having discovered traces of human DNA in the protein samples and come to investigate. Elsa informs them that Dren has passed away, but suddenly a thunderous scream echoes through the air. Dren, who was not dead, had transformed into a male and was more aggressive, reminiscent of the case with Ginger. In a lethal fury, The male Dren quickly kills Gavin and the officer, drags Clive to a pond, and begins a fierce pursuit of Elsa. Captured, Elsa struggles as Dren, with his newly regenerated tail, rips her clothes and forces her into an inhumane act. Clive, in a desperate attempt to save Elsa, attacks Dren with a log, but the creature quickly regenerates. At the peak of the confrontation, when Dren is about to kill Clive, Elsa, with a mix of compassion and despair, strikes Dren on the head with a rock. However, Dren recovers and kills Clive with a fatal strike of his tail. Seeing her companion's death, Elsa repeatedly attacks the creature until she finally manages to end its life. Months after the incident, Elsa meets with Joan, who offers her an unexpected deal. It is revealed that Elsa was impregnated by Dren and is carrying a hybrid child. Joan sees the potential to use the miracle baby to develop medicines that could benefit humanity. With her heart shattered and nothing left to lose, Elsa accepts the deal, sealing an uncertain fate as the film comes to a close.